Ah, okay. Good. Thank you very much, Beau. I apologize, by the way, in case you are able to see my video there. You can probably notice that I'm on a bus. No, I don't see you, but that's fine. um, I take the bus for now because I work in Miami and I live in Fort Lauderdale, so I'm on my way back home. Yeah, and thank you very much, Bo. I appreciate Tim connecting me with you. I don't know how much background he gave you on what we're doing. This is part of like a class I'm taking along with Tim for. It's called the Founder Institute, and basically, we have these ideas, and they help us to validate whether they are suitable to potentially be turned into viable businesses at some point. Right, right. And Bob, this is for a class. Do you mind if I record this for so I can show it to my teacher? Okay, thank you so much. Um, so in essence, I'm basically, my proposal for the project is to put together a tool to help board members or property managers in the bidding process when they are obtaining bids for custom projects such as repairs or enhancements of the properties when they're looking for contractors, basically. So let me share my screen, and maybe before I begin, I'd like to know from you, Bo, what is your role? Are you a member of the board, or are you a property manager? Ah, okay. Um, and could I ask you what the community was, or in what area it was where you were treasurer? Ah, okay, okay. Are you able to see my screen, Bo? Ah, okay. So I'll show you basically this is a mock-up that I have. The idea is to show you the concept, and basically to get your feedback, right, based on your experience. So what someone would do who is looking to find someone, either a contractor or an engineer or something like that, is basically to visit this website. Um, they'd go in and solicit a bid rather than signing themselves up as a contractor. They'd sign themselves up as a purchaser, or a board member, or perhaps a property manager if it's a community that is managed by a property management company. They put in their zip code. They put in the type of person that they're looking for. It's engineer, a roofer, a plumber, a paver. This would be populated with a lot more data right now because this is a mock-up. This is very preliminary. So, I'll just show you an example here. For example, if someone's looking for a general contractor, you'd get a list of results that you see here. You can see that they'd be, determined by geography. You'd be able to see the BBB rating. Hopefully, as the database matures, I'd be able to put in more data. At some point there'd be reviews, and feedback and things of that nature, right? Right now, uh, the extent of the information in the database is contractors in Florida, the fact that they have licenses, and the BBB rating for the Better Business Bureau. So
And where are they sourced from? Just the state of Florida, my Florida license,
exactly, yes,
something like that.
yep,
Okay.
yep. Um,
And,
mhm.
and then in Progressive, will it be something similar to like Angie's List, but for kids where there'll be reviews and feedback and things like that?
You'd be correct. Yes, you'd be correct. If you wanted to think of it that way, for sure, it is like an Angie's List that is geared towards commercial, you know, for condos and for people that are looking for, people that do commercial work.
Okay. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so here you'd say, okay, do I want to solicit bids from everybody that was listed or just from a couple of them? You select who you want to actually send the bid requests to. You'd say, okay, this project is supposed to be awarded on this date. Here you'd select the type of template because, so let's say we said, yeah, we need a structural engineer, but now you want to say exactly what type of work you want. So you would say something like, okay, well, my stucco is failing, for example, the stucco on the concrete on the side of the building. So we'll select that one because that's the one that I have populated on the demo. Um, we'll,
Okay.
we'll click next. And now this is meant to basically give the details of the type of job that you need, right? Because the idea here is that you're not just looking for someone to call you and give an estimate. You're basically trying to send them out all the information that's necessary for them to provide a bid up front, right? So, we give the details of the condo building, the number of stories, the total number of condo units, the type of structure. Now, in a case such as this one, where it's a little bit more complex, for example, it's asking for the type of concrete, this is probably something that might be done by a consulting engineer or a structural engineer. Something more basic, like for example, if you're looking for someone to do plumbing work or landscaping work, uh, could probably be done by the property manager themselves directly. Okay, so here we enter the estimated amount of damage, whatever, 900 square feet. You'd be able to upload documents, engineering specifications, pictures. Um, Now here we'd be able to send like screening questions. So the type of normally when you're looking at the bids, the responses, excuse me, the bid responses, you'd more than likely then call them in for interviews and ask them some of these questions. So here we're basically helping the process along a little bit by sending them these questions ahead of time. Whoever wants to respond can just go ahead and fill in this information. So you'll get that in the basically in the package of responses. You'd be able to add more questions or say yes, yeah, these are good questions, include those or not. The type of insurance you carry. Are you certified to do this kind of work? How many years have you been doing it? These are typical questions that you probably ask in doing an interview process, right?
Yeah, exactly. Making sure that they're bonded, etc.
Right. Yeah. So then you'd hit review here. I don't have any more mock-ups after this, but you'd hit review there. Verify that all the information is good. Send it out, and then when the contractor, the contractors get they see that they've been requested to submit a bid. They will be able to fill out the template. Fill out their costs and they have all the supporting documentation. They'd also be able to submit questions online, and when you get the responses, they would look more uniform because they were submitted via the template. So this helps also in making it easier to compare when you're getting multiple bids for the same type of work. Yeah. So, I mean, based on what you've seen, Bo, can you more or less tell me your preliminary feedback if something like this is something that would be would have been or would be useful for a community such as the one you were a treasurer for?
Sure. I think it's a great idea. I think that that could be very helpful. Um, I know with Princeton, we did a balcony restoration project, which is $4 million, and it's working with the city and disseminating the information to different meetings, as well as different parks. So I'm sure there's a component of this. If you do get the bids, like a presentation format, whereas the last thing happens is when you get four bids, it's for a $3 million project, and you need to share it with people. It's a little different. It just raises a lot of questions. So that we can see on it. But I think the idea is a good one. It could be very useful, just because, as you know, you wouldn't be doing this. This would be different with associations or planning conferences to make capital improvements where you're asking people for special assessments, etc.
Right. Yeah, and that's the idea. To try to make it easier, especially for those larger projects. The original reason why I wanted to do this is because my father, who's a structural engineer, has actually done some of that work. It's specifically for balcony repairs, actually. Um, it, so when you were doing those types of that type of work, was that community managed by one of the larger property management companies?
No, it's self-managed. So we have an individual manager that does the design and build. He's not a third-party management company.
Okay, there was an on-site certified manager, but basically you were self-managed, not by a management company.
Right. We have a property manager. He's hired to rent the building. He's not a third-party manager, but he works specifically for the building.
Okay, got you. So, are you aware if during that balcony restoration project or any other project prior to that, if you used any online tools or whether it be Angie's List or any other kind of tool to help you find the contractors?
We did not use those. Everything was paper driven and lots of meetings and having engineers and contractors coming in to give, insight as far as the property and pretty much report back to the owners, which is one of the reasons I quit being the superintendent.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part. Bob, is one of the reasons that what?
Oh, that's one of the reasons I stopped being treasurer.
Oh, I see. What's it?
Yeah.
It was your job to basically just find these people.
Well, we had a engineer that we had worked with previously on the building when we did our 40-year inspection. So we had that engineer work on the balconies and then make recommendations on contractors that needed improvement. So we ended up getting, I believe, it was 4 bids from structural contractors.
Okay.
And there was no computer program, there was no database. It was just very old-fashioned, calling people up for RFIs and so forth.
How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even that long ago, actually.
Yep.
So did you were basically relying on the structural engineer to say, here are the four people that I found?
Exactly. We could throw in our own if we wanted, but we had a relationship and had worked with this company for years, so we took their recommendations and then used those to get the bids.
But obviously, I mean, the thing that I think about, for example, is it possible that even though it was a manual process, that perhaps it was good enough, I mean, do you think that something like that there was room for improvement for, or do you think that at least for your example, everything was smooth?
Um, well, I mean, the project got completed, and
Okay.
that's how
Okay.
people have been doing jobs for years the old-fashioned way. So yes, it works. did everything, all the bids, apples to apples. I think if there was a way that somebody who was putting all that information together and putting these four bids next to each other in a similar format, I think that would help a lot with the bid process. And when you're working with a developer, they're used to looking at bids all day, and it's customary. But when you're presenting this to a board that may or may not have experience, I think it's very helpful if everything could be similar and be apples to apples. So if I did have something, then it probably make life a lot easier on the decision making.
Okay. Okay. So from the perspective of the board, you think that one of the things that would be valuable would be to, once the bids are received, to be able to kind of easily see them and compare them, basically.
Exactly. Because everybody presents it a different way, but if they're all going through the site and the site has more of a template for the contractors to fill out, now you're looking at four apples to apples bids and know what you're making a decision on.
Right. When you went through that project, did everybody come in for interviews, or was it something where you picked the lowest one, interviewed them, see if they were good enough? If not, then you went to the next one, or by default you said, okay, we got four bids, we're going to invite all four for interviews.
I believe we invited all four for interviews.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Of course, not with the whole board, but there was a committee, so the building manager and then a couple people on the committee met with all four contractors.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and then you basically just took the what you thought was the best one to the overall board for approval.
Right. And once we got it down, I think we gave it, the full presentation to the board and anybody that wanted to show up and then their
Ah, okay. So, do you think that either for that project or any project before that something like this might have been helpful, like on a 1 to 10 scale, like how necessary or useful? I mean, obviously you got along without it, right? So one of the things that I'm trying to gauge is how the status quo versus using something like this. How likely is it that someone would say, yeah, I would use that, or it depends.
Well, I think with smaller communities, I think it could be very useful. I helped develop a downtown in Fort Lauderdale that had mixed-use retail office, and then it also had 9 townhomes. And a small town community like that, where you don't have a management company, you just have 9 owners. I think a tool like this could be very useful because they're not in the business of managing properties; they're just stuck having to do it. So I think if it were tailored for them, I think it could be very useful. I think for newer municipal companies or newer buildings, it could be useful on a larger scale. But I think one of the tough things, at least personally, like Mark that's 40 years old, is trying to make is where you already have relationships, right? We already have our vendor list. They know who we're using for everything. So unless those vendors are all using this, then they're going to bypass the site and just go call the vendors directly.
Right.
We have a plumber that does all the work already, so there's no need to do it unless there's a big project. And if so, someone who's been building for decades and knows an engineer, knows somebody. So I think it's breaking through that to get people to use the site. But for newer and smaller communities, I think it could work really well.
Right. Yeah, I got you. I mean, obviously, if someone's already knows, I mean, I guess that's one of the key things, right? Somebody could say, well, I have a plumbing job, but I already know 3 or 4 plumbers. What do I need the tool for, right?
Right. We already have their license, their insurance, they know the building. Why do we need to source another one's for? But on the example of the small community with 9 townhomes or, a small multi-unit building where it's self-managed by the owners, they may not know that, or if they do, they don't want to use, Susie's plumber because maybe, who knows why, but they want an unbiased opinion. And maybe it's going to work out really well.
Right. Okay.
management company,
So the scope is right now most of the people that I've talked to have been self-managed condos. I'm still kind of determining if there's a market for those properties that are managed by the larger management companies. The couple of feedback that I've gotten from some of the larger property managers is that they also internally do these things like via just internal communications and just knowing people, and in other words they don't have an internal tool, but I don't know if a tool like this would necessarily be useful or valuable for larger property management companies. I just know that they have plenty of experts and engineers within that normally do this kind of stuff. So yeah, my idea is first to gear it towards.
properties, and like you said, they're self-managed. They don't have that database where they're managing hundreds of properties, and they already have. I think the smaller self-run properties, make it sense.
Right, right. Okay. All right, Bo. I think I got all the questions that I wanted to ask you. I appreciate your time. This is certainly very helpful for me, for my class. And, I thank you very much. I don't know if you have any other comments for me, but I certainly appreciate your help.
No, anytime you know, if you need any follow-up or anything, you have my info. You can contact me anytime.
Yes. Thank you very much, Bo. I appreciate that very much. It's been very helpful.
All right.
Okay. Have a nice day.